Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. How you guys doing? It's raining here. It's raining cats and dogs. I hope I don't know if it's raining where you are, but I hope you guys are hearing me. It's going to be a wet Monday evening. Anyway, good evening, guys. I trust that your day has been well and your day has been well and profitable. Today we end the series on mentoring. I've talked about why you need a mentor. I've talked about how to find suitable mentors. Now let's talk about how to keep them. There's no point in finding something and you can't keep it. They say finders keepers. So if you have something good, you should be able to keep it. So I want you to know how to keep a good thing. A mentor is like a good staff, very good staff. How do you keep them? Because they are key to your success. Mentors are key to success in life. They're also key to success in your business or whatever endeavor you find yourself. Okay, before I proceed, I will ask for those of you on the Instagram, if you can move over to Zoom, it will be good. Because only in Instagram you cannot see the presentation I'm making. Those on Facebook can, and those on YouTube can, but Instagram they can't. So please, I would like, if you want, just switch over to Zoom or Facebook or YouTube. Okay, so let's see how we can keep our mentors. All right. So if you're building any business at all, you are going to need advice at some point down the line. Whatever you do in life, you're going to need advice. Even the Bible says, in the multitude of counselors, there is safety. So you need people. Somebody has done what you want to do. There's nothing you want to do that somebody has not done before. So such people, I think you should identify such people that can help you along the line. If it's life, if it's marriage, if it's business, it's leadership. There are already people there that can just help you. These people are like a guiding hand, and they have words of wisdom that you can't equate. You can't even equate it in cash form. You can't quantify it when it comes to cash, physical cash. You know, one particular advice can help you avoid millions of losses that you can have because you are ignorant about some certain things. So if you're building any kind of business, seek mentorship. I think I've talked about that for 2 weeks. Well, but now I want to talk to you how you can be able to keep a good mentor and mentee. So let's look at some ways we can do that. The ways that have been tested, they've been tried and they've been tested for many years, and it can help you to maintain a relationship, a good relationship. One is to ask the right questions and be mentor worthy. you have to make yourself mentor worthy. You have to ask the right questions. You know, some people have some kind of misfortune. A mentor will meet them and like them, but after one meeting with them, they will think that they are wasting their time. Personal business or life or help you in your profession or business is going to want to make sure that their time is being spent wisely. They want to know that their time is being spent wisely. If you don't know the person and you get him, you should take your time to explain who you are, what you are about. And once you're able to articulate it in clear terms, who you are, what you want to achieve, it helps the person. It helps what he can do for you. It helps the person have an idea of how, some form of projection of how he can be of help to you. So don't go to a mentor just telling him, I need you to mentor me in this. You should be able to tell him exactly who you are, why you need what you are, why you need what you want. It will help him. Tell the person why you have identified him or her, and be thorough about what you want from the relationship and what you envision as the timeline, the time commitment to it. It helps the person, it helps the mentor to know why you identified him in the first place. Because every mentor, whether they ask you or not, want to know, why did you pick me? What about me that you fancy to the extent that you want me to mentor you? Every mentor secretly wants to hear that. They want to know. So tell them why you identify them and what you want from the relationship. Because before you go and meet somebody, clearly identify what kind of relationship I want with this person. And when you are speaking to that person, try as much as possible to let him know the kind of relationship that you want. And also you feel that, put a timeline for the mentoring, that I believe that I want to do this in 2 years, so and so. I need mentoring because before I'll be able to venture into whatever you want. Put a timeline. Even if some mentoring are going to last for a lifetime, but at the same time, try as much as possible to make them realize that within so and so time, you feel that you'll be able to start that venture. Most people that you want to mentor you are supposed to be successful. I don't think anybody goes to an unsuccessful person to mentor them. So every successful person is busy. And most successful people, because they are busy, they like order. So being explicit with timing and desired outcomes is more likely to give you a positive response than mere asking for meetings. Oh, let's be meeting. Some people just want to meet with you. They just want to talk to you. For someone to want to mentor you, you have to portray yourself as someone that is serious about this thing, that somebody that has some form of order. Everybody likes order. Don't just come, let's just talk without any form of order. Okay? And ask a lot of questions. People take you serious, not just asking questions. So which school did you go to? Or this one. Asking questions in line with what you want. Ask a lot of questions, because it's your question that will bring out the quality of response you want to hear. Your questions will bring out the right quality of response that you want to hear. So make sure you are asking the right kind of questions before you go to someone to be your mentor. You have to do your own research. Is this man able to mentor me? And also, what do I want from them? Please, before you go and meet a mentor, rehearse the questions, cross-check the questions that you want to ask him. And when you ask that question, know exactly what you want to get out of it. Don't go to a mentor unprepared. Please don't do that. Don't go to a mentor unprepared. Go to a mentor knowing the questions you are going to ask, because the right questions will give you the right insights. Okay. Another tip I want to give you in maintaining a mentor is to get their attention. Most people at the top are looking for someone to mentor. They actually want to mentor someone. Most people are, once you become successful, there's something about inside of you that want to give back. Well, especially when you look at the years, through your years, and you've seen that somebody helped you along the line. You realize that 2 or 3 people must have helped you to become successful. And you become appreciative of that fact. And maybe you just want to help someone. You just see a younger person, you just like the person, you want to help. Most successful people are looking for who to help, but you need to get their attention somehow. And you don't necessarily need to know them. As long as you have researched them out, you get the attention. Successful people, for you to get them to mentor you or to have a relationship with you, you have to do something that is striking to get their attention. So there's this guy I saw, what a guy called Cole Hatter, what he said, how he got an influencer, how he got a mentor. This is what he did. He located an influencer with a massive a mentorship. He fostered a mentorship, friendship, and mentorship with a massive influencer who wanted to launch a book. And the goal of this influencer was to do what? To sell as many books as quickly as possible. So what this guy did was that he bought 700 copies for his community. Then he filmed a 2-minute review, a 2-minute video review, reviewing what he liked about the book. Then he posted it on Facebook and paid to boost the video to get a lot of views. They didn't send him. He just saw the guy. I like this man. I like the book. He took the book. 700, bought 700. That's a sizable quantity. And now he did a video about why he liked it and why it can be useful to you. And he put it out there and boosted it, paid, so that it can reach wider view, it can have a wider reach. The influencer noticed. He got a mail. And from that mail, he had a phone call. From that phone call, he had a lunch with the guy. From having the lunch, he evolved into a 3-year friendship and mentorship. He did this not necessarily expecting anything in return, but they noticed, and they reciprocated and appreciated it. So when you are dealing with someone you want to mentor them, to mentor you, you have to get their attention somehow. When you go to a function and there's a lot of successful people there, you have to do something for them to remember you. I've always talked about a mentor or someone I wanted to have a relationship with. And the person came to Port Harcourt. I belonged to an association, and the person came to speak to us in that association. And I wanted to meet him. But the head of the association was kind of blocking him out because he knows him personally. So I was privileged to be among the people that we're going to have a dinner with him. He leaves first flight the next day. So they were drinking very expensive drinks. I think the first round, each round can even cost you close to 100,000 naira to make a round, to do, and when I saw the opportunity, I was able to order. And because I ordered, all attention came to me, Ozim, because I ordered. And I said I wanted to make a speech for this great man that has come into our city. It's a privilege that I'm buying these drinks. It's a privilege to have you. You have mentored me from afar, blah, 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 blah. I make that speech. And once I made that speech, the man recognized me. He recognized me. And at the end of the dinner, everybody was going. He held my hand. Thank you for that wonderful speech and the drinks that you bought. I said, sir, I would like to have one or two, a few minutes with you. He said he was tired, but that I should come early and follow him to the airport so that we can talk. So it took us like 1.5 hours to get to the airport. Even before check-in and all those things, we were still talking. So I had close to 2.5 hours to ask him all the questions. And he was relaxed. He was relaxed. And he opened up and said quite a lot of things. And that relationship started growing from there. Do something for people. Do something. You can see a successful person. The mistake people made is that they say, I can't give this man a gift. The man is already rich. What can I give to them? That's an error. That's an error. I saw a guy at the supermarket. I realized that rich people don't have time to, or successful people, because most successful people are rich. They don't have time to go and do shopping. So I saw this guy in a shopping mall. He came for something. He came for two things. I knew he was not going to buy much. So I followed him there. I greeted him and I was there. I didn't buy anything. So he wanted to pay. And I think the thing was about 35,000 naira, just 2 items, small items he wanted to use. I said, sir, don't worry, I'll pay for this. He was shocked. He was shocked that somebody would volunteer. I said, Lord, sir, please don't pay. It's an honor to do this for you. You don't understand how you have blessed us or been a blessing to us. He collected my card. This was in that same mall. He told somebody to my hearing that if I collect card from you, I won't use it. I'll give it to my PA. That he doesn't have time to be recording things. That's what he told one guy that approached him. But because I did something, collected my card, right there in my presence, he keyed in my number, called me and said, is this my number? Yes, before he gave my card to his PA. Just because I did something. Get their attention at all costs. They will appreciate you. Don't say rich people don't have something. Everybody, every human being has a need. They have a need. And if you locate that need, you are probably made for life. Anyway, get their attention any way they can. People like that are used to giving. They're not used to getting. So when they get from you, most of the time, they recognize and they remember you. Number 3 thing that can make you keep a good mentor. Take recommended actions. What do I mean by that? Once you have a mentor, take action. Mentors do what they do because they want to impact others and see their wisdom live on. Mentors they don't necessarily, not because they like you as a person, they will just accept to mentor you. Mentors, they do that because they want to give back. They want to impact somebody. And they want to know that they are impacting someone. And they want to see their wisdom live on. So it's kind of personal. So, and because they have earned this wisdom over the years, they will be happy to see that it works for someone else. So nothing is more disheartening, annoying, and irritating to a mentor when a mentee has asked for an advice, then he avoids taking the recommended action. You go to a mentor, the mentor says, do this, do this, do this. And you come again and he asks you, have you done this? I haven't done it. I've not been able to, I've not had the chance to do it, but I will do it. The other one you said, I thought about it and I said, it might be too, it might not go too well if I do it. Once you talk like that, the mentor will not take you serious anymore. Gradually, you will not be seeing him as much. He will gradually use what they call gradually disengage from you. Because if you are not ready to take recommended actions, don't go to somebody. Don't go and submit yourself to somebody if you are not ready to listen to what that person has to say. Okay, your mentor is giving you two most valuable possessions, and that's their wisdom and their time. And so when they give you that wisdom and time, they expect you to utilize it. If you can remember this thing, you and your mentor will last for a very long time. Number 4, don't stop until you find the right kind of mentor or the right mentor for you. It might take a while. It might take a while for you to find the right person. Not because you have studied one particular successful person, say, this is my mentor. It means that it will work for you. I always tell people, finding a perfect coach, mentor is like finding a spouse. You will likely need to explore different people before finding the right kind of person. The chemistry has to be there in the relationship. And mentoring is not different. If you don't like your coach, you can break up with that person and find someone that suits you. You know, someone that don't say because I don't know when I can meet this kind of person again. You see, it has to be mutual. The person must be willing to mentor you. And when you come, there should be some form of relationship. There should be some form of friendship, even if the person is much older than you. He regards you as a younger friend and you regard him as an older friend. There must be a chemistry between you and this person. Don't go to somebody you don't respect. Don't go to somebody you don't honor. Don't go to somebody that you don't feel, that maybe this person has much of that. You are just saying, oh, this person is skilled. I want to get that skill from him. And so let me just... No, go to someone that you revere, somebody that you look up to, because that will help you. When he gives you assignment, you'll be able to do it. Don't go to somebody that you just don't feel much about that person, because it might not work. And when you get the right kind of coach, you will know, because the right kind of coach also is somebody that will motivate you to take action, someone that encourages you, someone that even when you fail, he's not happy that you fail, but he will encourage you and encourage you for you to succeed. So when you meet the right kind of person, he encourages you, but he does not massage your ego. He's firm, but he relates to you with a human face. He's humble enough to come down, to step down and relate with you, but he's also firm and will not allow you to be lazy, or will not allow you to just coast along and just know him without having any impact. So it's something you need to continue until you get the right person for you. Don't get one and give up and say, no, I don't think this mentoring thing works. It might take a while. For some people, they hit it first. But for others, it might take a while for them to be able to get it right. Okay. Number 5, don't just talk about your work, about yourself. If you have approached your mentor to get professional direction, don't just discuss about work alone. Because if you just discuss about what you came for, oh, you just say, good morning, sir. Maybe the man is advising you of workplace, of workplace politics, and maybe you are having issues at work, and so you have this mentor you go to when you have a challenge with your boss or your colleagues and things like that. Don't just come when you pray, good morning, sir, how are you doing? How's your day? Okay, sir, this is what happened to me last week. I just got there, my boss said this and that. Sir, what do you think I should do? The guy will advise you. After advising, it's okay, thank you, sir. Sir, I will come again. That's all. Some people, that's all. It looks as if it's one-sided. After a while, the guy will be looking at you like you are just one official assignment he has done. When you stay with him longer, you see that conversation that example I just made is stiff. It's too formal. And when something is too formal, it looks unnatural. Instead, when you get to your mentor, spend some time understanding each other's personal choices. Talk about what they like. Do they like football? Do they like traveling? Talk about what are their priorities. Because in this way, you are getting to know that person is getting to know you. What it does, it opens the mentor's mouth to tell you more things. You know, it's your question, your personality that draws out something from the mentor. If you just ask the mentor one question, he can just answer you, but that question might not be too helpful to you until you go in by having some form of relationship and drawing those insights, those powerful insights that you need. Discuss your personal aspirations, how you like to spend your weekends, your work-life balance, anything you like, because in those conversations, you guys will have a candid conversation that you leave that place and you know that you have benefited. Even though you came to ask of workplace challenges, put it at the end. And with all that you have discussed, when it comes to that place, the man is already, you have already set him up for him to talk more. So don't come and start talking about what brought you first. Make sure you develop a relationship, and asking him of certain things, bringing up certain things will just loosen him a bit and loosen his mouth a bit for him to start talking to you freely. Okay. Another point is meet regularly. Meeting regularly ensures that you don't lose touch with your mentor. Don't stay too long away from your mentor, because after a while he might be forgetting that he has a duty to mentor you, and you also might not be taking that mentoring seriously again. But most importantly, it's the best way to measure. Is usually the best way to measure your progress and track your goals. So what it means that you need to even meet your mentor periodically in a way that you'll be able to measure your progress. Know that when you go to him, he's going to ask you what you have done so far based on the advice he gives you. So you should have a predictable schedule that you meet your mentor. Let it be periodical, that you determine you have gauged it well, and it shouldn't be inflexible, and your meetings shouldn't be too frequent. So it shouldn't be something that you meet him every week. Space it. Come is refreshing to get from him. Don't make it too frequent, because after a while you might be choking the mentor. You might be adding undue pressure on him. Understand that your mentor is busy and will be willing to walk around their schedule. If it means that you need to fly to wherever the mentor is, drive hours to wherever the mentor is, whatever it takes to show up at the right time in a place convenient for your mentor. It has to be convenient for your mentor, not for you, because you are the one that is calling the meeting, not him. And the meeting is there to favor you in the first place. Respect your mentor's time and they will respect you. So if you are calling for meetings, let it be that you're respecting his time, and he will also respect you for that, valuing his own time. Okay, another is to set an agenda. Please, this is very important. Set an agenda. What do I mean by set an agenda? Scheduled meetings will work if both of you come prepared with what to discuss. Have what you want to discuss with him. Take time to plan an agenda for every meeting and share this agenda with your mentor in advance. And it's simple. It's not as if you are writing a memo. If you are sending him an SMS or WhatsApp, preferably WhatsApp, you send him a WhatsApp and you say, sir, we're supposed to meet on Friday. Sir, these are some of the things I want to discuss with you. You itemize it. And don't make it too much. Sir, I would like us to discuss this issue and this issue. Even if you are meeting him 2 weeks' time, so that he's already thinking about, give him time to think about what you guys are going to discuss. So always give him the agenda ahead of time. It's possible you might be juggling too many things. You have many challenges. Please don't pick more than 2 to discuss per meeting. Some people want to tell you, sir, okay, this thing happened. Sir, let's talk about, sir, because I don't know when I'm going to meet you. Let me ask, you're asking the man 6 things all at the same time. Take 1 or 2 topics, issues that you want to discuss with him, and focus on them for that particular meeting. What it does is that if you limit what you want to talk about, it allows your conversations to be deep and meaningful. Because if you, assuming now you ask 6 questions, he can take 10 minutes to answer. He has given you 1 hour, 60 minutes. You ask 6 things. He will take 10 minutes. He will take 10 minutes to answer each question. And 10 minutes is not enough. But if you ask 2 questions and you have 1 hour, it means that it will take him 30 minutes to answer 1 question. Then take another 30 minutes to answer the second question. And 30 minutes is enough to have deep and meaningful conversations. So this is why it's important to limit the number of things you want to communicate with, rather than meandering through multiple directions. And the man might just spend 5 minutes just answering you so that you can finish with you and you leave him alone. So if you have one question, say, sir, this is what I came for, and the man gives you 1 hour every time you come, so you have 60 minutes for him to talk about 1 question, and you can ask him all the questions. It's wiser for you to do that in that way than to ask too many questions at the same time. Okay, another thing is to share your goals and results. At the beginning of every meeting, if you want your mentor to take you seriously, take a few minutes to review your progress. Sir, I'm happy to tell you that advice you gave to me and that process you shared with me, I've tried it and this is where I am now. Okay, maybe I've not fully benefited from it, but I can see that it has solved 1 or 2 problems. You know, when you start with that, you're already making the man happy, because it means that his time with you is not wasted. So, and have you implemented the solutions you discussed in the last meeting? Your mentor feel that you are worth all this trouble, that you are worth his taking time out. This helps you to track your results and show your mentor you value the time and expertise that he brings to the table. Similarly, at the end of every meeting, take a few concrete goals to accomplish. Sir, you know, at the end of the meeting, set a few concrete goals to accomplish by the next time you meet him. From the things that you have discussed, write the goals for the next meeting. If possible, make a list of actions or a list of action items to reach your goals so you don't feel overwhelmed by it all. So at the end of the meeting, you are setting the agenda for the next meeting. So you are taking notes. Even some people like when they mentor you, you come and you are taking notes. When somebody comes and you are talking and the person is not taking notes, the person might think that you are not serious. So let it be that even if you don't take notes, record, tell him that, sir, I want to record these conversations we're having so that I can extract things from it. He will say that at least this man wants to work with my advice. And you know what that means? It brings out more from the person. You know, when somebody is appreciated for what they do, if you appreciate someone for what he does, he will do more. So when you appreciate, when he sees that you are doing these things, he will appreciate that you are making this effort. You draw out more from him. He will want to do more from you. This is some of the secrets of having a mentor and sustaining a mentor. You know, it's not difficult at all. People go to mentors. People come to me every time and I see that you are coming from a selfish angle. All you just think is, oh, okay, since I'm the mentor, I have everything, so I'm just to give to you and you just to walk away. You know, you don't understand that the way you come to me will determine the amount of time I'm ready to give to you. A guy came to my office. I told him I only have 5 minutes that I'm working. But based on the things he asked and the way he started talking, I ended up leaving what I was doing to talk to him for 1 hour. Because he came and said, the last time I saw you, I was able to do this. You know, once he said he saw me at the conference, I gave him an advice. So when he came from that angle, I stopped. I said, okay, you have tried it. This has happened, you know. And now he brought out more from me. And he went again. He came back and he said, I've tried this. This is successful. This. So it helps. It helps you when you talk to a mentor to appear that you are prepared. Okay, another point is give, don't just take. It's very important. Give, don't just take. Don't just be about taking. There are people that have takers mentality. All they want is to take. They don't care about you. They just want to take from you and go. Many people will come to my office and say, sir, I come for your programs and I want this. A guy came to me. He says that he brought a business proposal. I said, okay. He says my partner. I said, no, he says my partner. I was laughing. He said, why am I laughing? I said, because if you are my partner, I will know. Do you know that a partner is a financial member? A financial partner is someone that helps you to do your work. Have you given to me before? He said no. So how can you say you are my partner? A partner is someone that is with me to achieve that. Someone that say, look, I partner with you. I join my hands with your hands to see that this thing works. So I explained it to him. You say, okay. I said, you are not a partner. I said, when you come for my program, did you pay anything? He said no. So because you didn't pay anything, how can you now say you are my partner? So are you coming to a free program are you doing me a favor by coming to a free program? Don't have a taker's mentality. Don't go. Let it be a win-win situation. The people I mentor, I sit them down and I tell them mentorship is a two-way thing. Don't just talk about your problems when you go for meeting. Ask your mentor what's going on with them in their life and their work. That's a way to give. Ask them, so, sir, how are you doing? How are you coping with all these things happening? How do you cope with family and work? There's nobody that you go to and ask that question genuinely. The person will know that you also care for him. Because you are successful, everybody wants to take from you, but nobody cares. It's just like if you are the most successful in your family. Your siblings just want to take from you. They don't care. They don't care. I know of a family that the parents are, they will be upset with this guy that he's not even giving to his siblings. And the youngest of his sibling is 28 years old. So you can imagine, everybody is taking, and nobody is even asking him, his own children, who is taking care of them. Nobody cares. Because you have, so they come and take. So you can imagine if he has a brother or sister that comes and now asking, so how are you coping with all these things you are helping us? How are you coping? I'm praying for you. I thank you for what you do. Do you think he will forget that person? Ask your mentor, what challenges are they dealing with right now? Ask your mentor, is there anything I can help you with right now? Ask him. Perhaps you're good in writing. Perhaps you're good in coding, designing, whatever it is. Volunteer your talent. If your mentor has a project or something, some work at hand, volunteer your talent. That's a way you don't have money to give to him, but you can give him that. Do you know that you can provide referrals for your mentor, and even introduce your mentor to things that he doesn't know? I have mentors that are good in IT. They can introduce me to somebody that will not normally have known that I need that person. They give you referrals that can help you. If you're not good in IT, they can offer you their services. If they have knowledge of technology, they bring it to you. If you have knowledge of technology, take it to your mentor. Help him set up things in his laptop that will make things easy for him. You can do that. When people want to marry and they have successful uncles or pastors or whoever they hold in high esteem, do they go to their mentor without a wine or something? Most people that we hold there, when you want to get married or want to invite them for something, you invite them with a drink, you invite them with a gift. But people don't do that to mentors. Maybe they will do it the first time, and after that, they just come and you are just taking. Periodically buy a gift for him, give him something to appreciate him for what he does. There's also nothing stopping you from giving money to your mentor. There's nothing stopping you. Even if he's a billionaire, there's nothing stopping you. You sow up, you bless down. You sow up. You sow to someone higher. Sow into the life of someone higher than you. Bless somebody lower than you. That's how it works. You can say sow into, if somebody, a successful person comes to speak at a conference. You admire this person. I wish to be like this person. Let me sow in something into this person's life. You carry money, no matter how small, put it in their hand. Thank you, sir, for being a blessing to me today. He will not reject it. He will not throw it away. As long as he spends it, that blessing will come upon you. So you are sowing you sow into church, you sow into people's life because you are sowing up. Then you bless people down. If you get that mathematics, it will help you. Sowing doesn't mean that the person doesn't have. Apostle Paul says you give so that it be abound to you, not because it be abound to him. Learn to bless your mentor. Learn to bless them, learn to give them things from time to time, because mentoring and mentee relationship is not about you don't pay for it. It's just the person is willing to mentor you and to be a blessing to you. So but from time to time, appreciate. Don't have that takers mentality. They just want to take and take and take and take and take and take, and they don't bring anything. After a while, two of you begin to separate. I wonder when I see that in young men. I just shake my hand. They think is being smart. Oh, let's go there. Let's go there and get. They think is being smart. Is actually being foolish. To keep taking and keep taking. You can come to me and speak for you for 10 minutes. And I've just spoken on the surface. But you can bring a gift for me. The gift cannot be more than 1,000 naira. Just because you made that effort. I can take out 1.5 hours. I like to talk. Oh. Talking is part of what I do. So I can talk to you for 2 hours just because you brought a gift of 1,000 naira. The person is appreciate your time. Don't go to a mentor empty-handed. Every time you go with something. It shows you appreciate him and appreciate his time. If you practice these 9 things I've told you today, there's no way you will not keep and maintain a mentor. There are more, but I'll stop here. So for the past 3 weeks, I've told you the reason why you have a mentor. The first week I told you the reason why you have a mentor. The second week I told you how to find a mentor. Then this week I've told you how to keep a mentor. This is important. Go back to these teachings because everybody needs a mentor. Go back to these teachings and look at it very well. And I'm pretty sure that when you get the kind of mentor you want, your life is going to become better. So until we meet again next Monday, I will be here with a different topic. I won't let the cat out of the bag. I'm coming with a exciting topic for you guys on Monday. But I have something else this week for you because I love you guys so much. I'm giving you 2 things per week. On Wednesdays by 4 p.m., I do What's on Your Mind series. I think I've said it before. What's on your mind? Ask me any question within my area, which is personal finance, business, career, leadership, family, marriage, those areas. I'm a life coach. I'm also a business and leadership coach. So if you ask me questions within that area, I will be able to answer you. People ask multiple questions. People ask questions and I answer them. So on Wednesday, I look forward to answering your question, whatever they may be, to the best of my ability. So I'm offering you 2 things, mentorship in 2 ways, because here I mentor on business, leadership, career, but I want something else. I'll be able to mentor you on life issues that you face on a daily basis. So that's what gave birth to the Wednesday meetings. I hope to see you there by 4 p.m. It usually lasts for 1 hour. So have a good night. Have a restful night until we meet on Wednesday. Take care. God bless and goodbye. Oh, wow. There was